Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter Watches TV, where I watch all the television shows, and then I come over here and I react to them. And today, I am finally caught up. I am finally caught up with Sister Wives. So I was on vacation last week, and when I got back, I had to catch up on Sister Wives, and so I really did not feel like watching two episodes back to back. So I've been putting off this week's episode that came out on Sunday, and I finally watched it last night and took notes. It is episode 18 of season 19, and it was called Money is the Root of All Evil. I preferred the title by Peter Mon called Coyote Pass is Where Dreams Go to Die, but we're going to get into that in just a second. But I do want to say this, just to explain this to people. When I do like Sister Wives videos, 1,000-Pound Sisters videos, 1,000-Pound Best Friend videos, you know, Real Housewives videos, all that kind of stuff, I'm not getting into, like, I'm just covering the show from this week. Like, I'm just going through and I'm just covering the show. If I know something, I might, like, throw it in there, you know, like something currently that's going on. But there is so much as far as Sister Wives that's going on. Like, 5 or 6 of the kids are, like, taking to TikTok on a regular basis or reacting to parts of the show. They're bringing up stuff from the past. The wives all go, I mean, Christine, Janelle, and Mary all are going live and sharing stuff about the show. Cody and Robin are really the only ones that kind of, like, don't really say a whole lot about the show because I think they know that they're caught in the trap of lies. But I've been thinking recently, I just did a video a couple days ago. So for those of you that don't know, I also have a drama commentary channel where I have for the last 8.5 years covered beauty influencer drama, and I have covered all kinds of drama over there. I've covered YouTuber drama. I mean, anybody that's like, you know, influencer on YouTube and things like that. And I have from time to time covered some reality TV. When I did my Ashley Madison reaction over here, the Ashley Madison documentary, the couple that was focused in that documentary, I went over and I did a video about them on my Peter Mon, my drama channel. I'm thinking about maybe carrying, because whenever I do a Sister Wives video, people are always like, well, you didn't talk about this, and this just came out, and that just came out. I'm actually thinking about, because I don't really want to do the drama over here, I just want to do reactions to TV shows. I'm actually thinking about taking some of the drama over to my drama channel. Would you guys be interested in that at all? If I started doing, like, covering Sister Wives drama on my drama channel, and, you know, like Tammy and Amy Slayton drama over there, and the Housewives drama, if I started covering some of that on my drama channel. If you're interested in that, just let me know, and I will be covering it. Can you imagine if I became a Sister Wives channel? Oh, you already are, Peter, because you're doing weekly coverage. Okay. So I got all my notes, I sat down last night, and I watched it before I read for like 2 hours, and then I started a new show the other night called Earth Abides. Somebody asked me, they're like, where is it at? It's actually on MGM. I don't know where you can, I have it on, I'm watching it on cable. I don't know where you can stream it, but it's totally not what I thought it was. I thought it was going to be, so Earth Abides is a 6-part series. It's already gotten renewed for a 2nd season. It started like right after From ended, the season of From, and it is about this like guy that like wakes up and like the world has ended because of a pandemic. And it's interesting because I thought it would be very much like The Walking Dead minus the zombies. It would just be like people fighting each other and the end of the world and, you know, apocalypse and stuff like that. It's not that at all. At least not where I'm at, and I'm halfway through it already. It's very much just like what would happen to the world if there weren't people here anymore. I mean, there's like just a handful of people around, and like the world just kind of starts taking over like the animals and like, you know, the forest and stuff like that. It's a very interesting approach to a show. I mean, I thought it'd be like people fighting, building communities. It's really not that at all. It's like people, the few people that are existing are like trying to like basically keep up with like Mother Earth. It's very, very interesting. So if you want something that's kind of a little bit different, I would definitely recommend Earth Abides. Okay, let's get into, and I'm also watching all the Harlan Coben shows. I just finished the other night The Woods. I have 2 more left, and then I am caught up on all the Harlan Coben shows on Netflix. There's one on Prime, and then there's a new one coming out later this year. So my plan is to watch the last 2 Harlan Coben shows, and then I'm going to rank them in order of which I thought was like the best to the worst. A little inside secret. The Woods that I watched the other night is 7 out of 7 so far. It was the worst I've watched so far. But anyway, so I'm going to watch the last 2, and then I'm going to do that video over here. I'm going to start doing some videos over here of like the best like Netflix shows to watch right now. I think I'm going to do that like once a month, or the best true crime to watch. I think I'm going to try to do more of those kind of videos over here as well on the days that I'm not doing reactions to shows. Okay, so let's get into Sister Wives. Are y'all ready? Oh my god, these are like my favorite videos of the week to do. Okay. I just sounded like Lisa Barlow, one of my least favorite housewives at the moment. It's so weird with Salt Lake City. I go back and forth. Like one season I love her, the next season I don't. So this is her off season for me. I'm not a big Lisa Barlow fan so far. If you guys want me to do reactions to the housewives, I can't. People ask me all the time, they're like, you watch all the housewives, why don't you do reactions? Because when I do, nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's like, people were asking me for Traders reactions, and I did the Traders reaction, and it's like, not many people watched it. So I want to make videos of things that people are interested in. So let me know in the comment section below what you guys want me to watch, and I'll watch it and react to it. I just love to watch TV. All right, so now y'all know how I take notes, okay? I basically go through the show from scene to scene to scene, and you know how it goes in Sister Wives, the scenes jump. So last week was Christine's wedding for the 444th time. So this week it started at Mary's, and she's having a conversation with her best friend Jen, and they're having a best friend chit chat, is what Mary says. And then they show her new dog, Zona. I feel like this is where I'm so confused about the show. Like, it jumps around so much. And I mean, okay, when people say to me, Peter, the show jumps around, like, I've watched every episode like you guys have, right? But sometimes it just doesn't click for me. Has Mary not shown the dog Zona before? I feel like she's already shown this dog to introduce it as a new dog. Or did I see a picture on her Instagram or something? I don't know. I feel like I already met this dog. Not as intimately as she introduced Zona. And I think the dog is adorable. And I love the backstory of how she was just going to visit the dogs at the rescue and then ended up bringing her home. But I think Zona is a sweet dog, but I'm just a dog lover anyway. But I feel like we already met Zona. I don't know why. I was like, this dog didn't seem new to me. Anyway, this is where I feel like they went and they just filmed with Mary 3 days in a year, and they're just piecing together pieces. She's very upset about how the selling of Coyote Pass is going. So this whole episode was all about the selling of Coyote Pass, okay? I really, to be honest with you, I can't believe we're still fucking talking about Coyote Pass. I'm over it. But you can kind of tell, just recently is when, they discussed the buying of the farm between Maddie and Janelle in this episode, the flower farm. And Janelle has just recently put out posts of, their harvest of flowers and things like that. So we are starting to catch up in real time to where we're at. I mean, it's gonna end probably a year from where we are, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer to catching up a little bit. But Mary is very upset about what's going on with Coyote Pass. She said that she sent an email and to start a conversation between her and Janelle, Robin, and Cody. And that Janelle is frustrated too. And that there is no communication from Cody and Robin. And that Cody said that what he responded to in the email is that he would let them know when it involved them. Which really pissed Mary and Janelle off because they're like, what do you mean when it involves us? This is about us. We own these plots of land. So for those of you that don't remember, when Christine left, okay, she gave Robin and Cody, or basically Cody, her part and parcel of Coyote Pass so that she could keep her house. She sold her house and kept the profits from her house. Probably the smartest thing Christine's ever done. Christine's she's a business lady. This episode, she bought a house in Moab and she's going to turn it into an Airbnb. there was this moment between Christine and Janelle where they were on a Zoom call, and Janelle, it was when Janelle was telling Christine about buying the farm, and then it was later in the episode, we'll get to it. And Christine told her that she's buying an Airbnb in Moab and that David's been really helpful. And Christine said something to Janelle we're finally living the lives we always wanted. And it was this moment, it was a very small moment on the show. But if you've watched every episode and every season, I have, I'm assuming a lot of you have, it was this very profound, significant moment between the two of them. I mean, they've literally for years and years and years fought for what they wanted. And it was really interesting because off of that, when Christine is talking about buying this Airbnb, Janelle, they ask her something and she goes in the confessional and she goes in this thing about how women in the FLDS church, the Warren Jeffs and things like that church, that they have no financial autonomy. I thought it was really interesting that Janelle spoke to this, right? Also, because they are now making a lot of comparisons between Warren Jeffs and Cody Brown. If you don't hear it in the show, there's a part later in the show where Jen is talking to Mary, and she says to her, keep sweet, okay? Well, the Warren Jeffs documentary is called Keep Sweet, Pray and Obey. It's when they have the girl that, I can't remember what her name was, but she, those people came and stayed with the Browns a couple, 5-10 seasons ago, like she talked about the idea of keeping sweet. The idea of keeping sweet, it's why I really had a huge issue with Cody's changing of his language and talking about loyalty and referring to Robin as sweet and loyal and shy, because those are a lot of there's a lot of the terms that the FLDS church uses, and like especially when you talk about the women within the Warren Jeffs community and things like that. So the fact that Janelle goes in and she speaks to this and she says, when you talk about women within like the FLDS church, and she doesn't reference Warren Jeffs, but she says when you talk about those women, they have no financial autonomy, right? Like they have none of their own financial freedom. And when she says next, it's so powerful, and she goes, and when women don't have any financial autonomy, they don't have any choices. So therefore they can't leave, because where are they going to go? They can't rent apartments. They can't buy food. They can't buy groceries. They are stuck, right? And so what she's basically saying is it's trickle down. And even though we weren't really necessarily in that kind of religion, it was still felt to some degree, because we have no financial autonomy if we were to leave, which is why it was so important that Christine said, you keep the plot of land. I'm going to have my house. I'm going to sell my house. It was her dictating financial autonomy over her own life. Later, Cody comes up and he says, well, Janelle left and she took her business that we all put money into, and she's still making a profit and we don't get any profit over it. It's Janelle's claim to her financial autonomy. You know, Cody's the one that didn't want to, like, he only wanted to legally be married to Robin. There's a lot that Cody kept in the marriage. So to come out later and complain, okay, that Janelle took her business and like ran with it and she keeps the profits, well, that's part of what you get in a polygamous marriage, Cody, is that, I mean, she doesn't have a lot of claim over these things either, except for what's on paper. So this was a very important conversation, because for years and years and years, a lot came out in this episode, you know, like things that they had kind of hinted at. Like Mary said that, like Cody makes a joke about, well, she got her wet bar, and she's like, hell yeah, I got my wet bar back in Las Vegas. And she's like, what's wrong with me wanting a wet bar? And she goes, and also she goes, I paid every house payment. Nobody else did. Well, that's new, because when they were talking about the houses and things like that back in the day, there was a lot of discussion of who got what account of money off of this. Not to mention that Mary brought up in talking to Jen in this episode that she, for years and years and years, they all put in equal parts of money into it. They thought Janelle was controlling the money. Janelle's like, I wasn't controlling the money. Cody was. Cody was the one that was always controlling the money and saying, oh, this is going to this kid's college and this is going to this kid's college. What's interesting to me about this is that I can remember, like, when Logan was going to college and when Maddie was going to college, and they were talking about the prices of college and what would be affordable and what wouldn't. I remember that they were having conversations about Leon going to college too, and how much that would cost as well. For Mary to come out in this episode and say that Mary didn't receive any compensation and had to pay for Leon's college and Leon's car as well, was like, kind of blew me away a little bit. And Mary did say, you know, she said, I don't know what was paid for other kids in the family. All I know is that I paid for Leon's college and I paid for Leon's car as well. And so I think Mary said something about Cody contributing a little bit, but like, that's so interesting to me, because for years we've thought I always was under the assumption it just all came from this family, you know, like this big money pot that they had, all their money went into it, and then like each kid got kind of a dividend out of that for college or whatever. I mean, that's how I always thought it was. So to hear now that Mary was paying her car, I mean, I feel like we knew about the house payments back then, because Cody, it's interesting to me because, like, whenever I bring this up, people are like, well, at that time, people were talking about Dayton going to college. I understand that at that time, that was what everybody was talking about behind the scenes. But if you remember at that time, when Cody was so pressed to move to Flagstaff, okay, there was like a rush time on it. Yeah, I mean, in retrospect, it makes total sense that they had to get out so they could establish residency in Flagstaff so that Dayton could go to college there. I totally understand that. And that they could be living there while Dayton goes to school in Flagstaff and living at home, right? I mean, it totally makes sense, especially for a kid that's not even on the television show anymore. But at that time, he made these like packets up and he presented them to them. Christine and Janelle did not want to move at all. Specifically Janelle. She was like, I do not want to uproot my kids again from another school. Like, I don't want to do that. And Cody was like, no, this is the time we're going to sell. We have to sell now. We have to sell now. This is when it was never about, whenever I bring it up, like, I'm fully aware that the reason that they moved was because Dayton was going to college. I get that. I understand now that that was what their reasoning was, okay? Not for Mary, Christine, or Janelle, but for Cody and Robin. Yes, I understand that. But that was not what Cody presented to them. Cody presented to them that they needed to get out now because the market was so good and it was going down, that if they wanted their money's worth out of the house, that was the time they had to move. And then they were pissed because they got to Flagstaff and the houses weren't selling. Do you guys not remember that? Like, that's like what the whole issue was. It was all about the money. I totally understand that the reason that they moved was for Dayton. I get that, right? But like, that was what he sold them on. And if you go back and you watch that episode, you know, it's interesting to me because I just watched these episodes this summer. So a lot of it feels very, very fresh for me. Like, I just watched it last season. That episode where Cody has the dry erase board up, and they all are so confused when you are watching them. The only one that is not confused, I don't even remember if Robin's like in that scene. I think she's sitting in the chair and like Janelle and Christine are on these couches or something. Like Mary, Christine, and Janelle are like floored. The only one that's not is Robin, okay? And he is totally, they're like, what are you talking about? Like, this is the time we have to sell the houses. Like, we just got the cul-de-sac. Which, interestingly enough, Robin is the only one. Like, Mary goes back to the cul-de-sac and she's like, yeah, it was like good memories. Christine talks about it. Janelle doesn't really have any memories. She's care less about the cul-de-sac. Robin and Cody are the ones that talk about the cul-de-sac the most, and yet they were the ones that wanted to fucking get out of the cul-de-sac the most. Robin talks about, oh, we were so happy at the cul-de-sac. Well, girl, you were the one that wanted to move. It was because of your kid. We know that now. It was nothing about, you all weren't even getting any money out of those houses. You couldn't even sell those houses. Which I do think is interesting. Do you guys think it's interesting that they put a gate up on the cul-de-sac? Like, does anybody talk about that? Do they put a gate up on the cul-de-sac because people try to come see the houses of the polygamists? Like, I want to know that. Like, they can never get past that gate. The rest of the neighborhood is not gated. When they lived there, it wasn't gated. So they must have put the gate up after they moved, which makes me think it has to be because of the show. But anyway, so Christine, so she talks about Christine giving Coyote pass for the money for the house. Then it goes into Mary getting an attorney. Mary finally has gotten an attorney, and it flashes back to the conversation that she had with Janelle, where Janelle was like trying to convince Mary that Cody and Robin were going to screw her. And Mary was like, no, I can trust Cody. Like, I really don't think they're going to do that to me. And Mary, they had no idea what's going on whatsoever, and they still don't. And Mary says she doesn't want to ruffle feathers, but she won't sit back and be walked over. And it's at this point that Mary says something about, like, I feel bad because, like, I know that Janelle was just trying to protect me now. And that was, like, one of the most, like, profound conversations of this whole season. And I remember that because Janelle and Mary don't ever interact. And so for Janelle to come there, I mean, she was really, it's interesting because Cody always, like, plays this scenario that Janelle will fuck him at any expense she can. Like, I mean, she will fuck him over anything. He's like, if she could fuck me over child support, she could do this, she would do. He said it in this episode. I'm like, but she didn't. She could have, but she didn't, okay? And you didn't even come to your own daughter's graduation. Like, I mean, he always blames it. I mean, Janelle is like, unless she has something behind the scenes, I think she's smart for getting an attorney. You know, it's interesting because when I watch this episode, Cody complains so much. Like, to this realtor at the end, this realtor comes out to Coyote Pass that's going to sell the property for him. And Cody's like, yeah, like, I've got these ex-wives and blah, 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 whatever. It's just real bitter between us, all this kind of stuff. I'm like, Cody, like, do you, like, it's kind of crazy to me when I watch this show. It's like, y'all live in a cave. Like, Christine explaining to everybody, like, what a wedding is like Cody explaining what a marriage is like. It's like, do you think that most of us out there haven't gone through a divorce? Grew up in divorce, know somebody that's been divorced? I mean, like, baby, you lawyer up. That's what you do, okay? From the moment that people separate, most people are not friendly anymore. The people that are, like, going through a separation or divorce that stay friendly are very, very few, okay? If any of my girlfriends out there were going through a divorce tomorrow, and they call me and they go, I don't know what to do, I'd say, absolutely fucking lawyer up. 100%. You need to protect yourself and your assets. 100% lawyer up. I would tell any of my friends, male or female, I would tell them that, you know? So it's like, the fact that Cody acts like they're trying to screw him, no, baby, you went through a divorce. And then wants to play the victim, him and Robin both, like, all the dreams died on Coyote Pass. Robin's like, everything changed when we moved to Flagstaff. That's not true. It's so interesting to me how Cody and Robin are trying to rewrite history about everything changed when they moved to Flagstaff. That is fucking not true. Everything changed when Cody came up with those insane rules that everybody had to follow during the lockdown. That's when everything changed. And that's when he started publicly saying that Robin was the only one that was willing to follow the rules. She was the most loyal. She obeyed. That was when they started hearing that language and were like, oh, fuck no. That was when when Mary was in a house all by herself and didn't see anybody for months on end, okay? And Cody didn't see Janelle or her kids for months on end, or Christine, because they weren't following the rules. The fact that they want to act like it was moving to Flagstaff and it was Coyote Pass, that has nothing to do with it. It kills me that he and Robin want to rewrite history because they can take no accountability whatsoever. But anyway, so Mary goes on, and then Jen says that the only person that Mary can trust in the whole family is Janelle, or in that situation with Coyote Pass. Christine's out of it. She don't care. Then shows Cody meeting with this realtor on Coyote Pass. I don't know if anybody else watching this, but this realtor seemed like real freaked out by Cody Brown. Like, what did he say about him? He said, the realtor said Cody's hair was like all frizzy and he was like walking up like this. I mean, you can tell he's like Cody's like, yeah, and over there's where we all like skinny dipped, and I was skinny dipping with all my kids. And the realtor's like, and he's like, and they show these. I kind of forgot how weird that fucking was with Cody and his like, you know, his briefs out there with all the kids swimming in that mud pond. I'm like, I mean, it was so fucking weird. I don't know why I thought, I mean, I was like so in it at that point. Like, I just thought it was kind of normal, I guess. I don't know. Like, it was fucking weird in retrospect. They're all swimming out there in that mud pond. But what I did remember was that none of them were excited. And then, who was it? Janelle was living in an RV out there. I mean, it's like you can't write this shit in retrospect. Janelle deserves her fair share. She lived in a fucking RV out there. And Cody's like, yeah, I have this one wife and she had dogs. Don't ever have dogs in an RV. And I was bringing her water out here. And he's like, don't ever have a wife that lives in an RV. And the realtor's just like looking at him like, dude, you're crazy. So he's meeting with this realtor. And he says Robin was the last to give up on the dream. No shit, really, Cody? No shit. Robin, the last to give up on the dream? Sobbing Robin. And Cody's explaining to the realtor about how the marriages and the exes and the property, like he's the first person that's ever gone through this before, right? Cody doesn't know what he's going to do with the property. He just doesn't. Janelle wants him to buy him out, but he doesn't have that kind of money, is what he says. He says he has 2 exes nagging him. And then I love what Mary says. Mary says that since he didn't love her and he never wanted to be married with her, any kind of form of communication would be considered as nagging. And I'm like, they got in some shade. Christine, Janelle, and Mary all got in some shade in this episode, and I kind of live for it. Then he describes Coyote Pass as a heartbreak place for him. And like I said, Coyote Pass is the place where dreams go to die. It is a really pretty property, though. When he and the realtor were walking around there, I was kind of sad that we weren't going to see the, you know, the polygamy castle in the sky, you know, where Cody had his own entrance and like everybody bowed down to him, and they had 15 refrigerators and 42 ovens. Oh my God. Okay, so Robin says it's the last place that connects them all as a family. Girl, you're not a family, okay? Half the people don't even have your last name anymore. Christine's Wooly. She's not Harry, she's Wooly. Then Robin says that the last few years and everything that happened since they moved to Flagstaff, it just annoys her. And she's annoyed by it. It's like, you started this, okay? You started this, and now you're pissed that it's happening. That's what's so hilarious to me is, you're so mad about what you wanted to begin with. It just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to, and you couldn't manipulate it the way that you wanted it to. So now you got to rewrite history to look the way that you want it to look, right? Oh, we have words for that, don't we? Okay. Then we're back, and Janelle is doing a Zoom call, and Maddie and Janelle are telling Christine that they bought 165 acres in North Carolina. This was some shade from Christine. Christine says 165 is better than 2 acres on Coyote Pass. I lived. They're going to be flower farmers. Janelle was so excited about it. I have a friend of mine that she used to work on a flower farm in Bloomington, Indiana, right outside Indiana University. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. And I mean, like, when I was like thinking of, I mean, that was not 165 acres either. I was like, this is perfect for Janelle. Janelle is kind of like, I raised my kids, I did my job, my husband's funky, I'm so happy I'm away from him, just let me live on a farm and wear some, you know, straw hats and grow, let me just fucking leave me be, okay? Like, I kind of live for that about Janelle. She's kind of like, just leave me be. I will say, people are like, they need a spinoff show, just the 3 wives, and I was like, I kind of thought that too, but like, I'll be honest with you, I probably wouldn't watch a spinoff show with just, I mean, I would to cover it over here, but like, how boring would that be? I mean, part of why we watch Sister Wives is the drama, right? Which they don't ever give us anyway. So, anyway, She's so, Janelle goes on and talks about how she's always wanted land and that she's so happy that Coyote Pass didn't happen because now she's actually got her real dream. Now we're back at Mary's and she's talking about this email that she sent that she needed to talk. Janelle responded and Cody said that he'd been talking to all the right people. And they're like, who's the right people? Because you're not talking to us. And so he says he was really nice in the email and he was trying to calm them down, is what he says. He is so misogynist. Like, when I started reading, watching Sister Wives, I've been, like, reading the articles and stuff, and, people are talking about clocking his misogyny and stuff. His misogyny is coming out. I don't know if it's, like, I think people have said there's different producers this season, but, like, they are really not editing his misogyny. I mean, like, his whole attitude of, like, oh, they're a bunch of, like, like, women that I have to calm down, and talking to the realtor about, like, oh, these exes are nagging me. I mean, he is so misogynistic in, like, everything he says. Keep sweet, like, oh, my sweet, loyal, shy wife, ooh, Robin Brown, whatever. I mean, it's just, he is so misogynist in everything that he does. He is doing them a favor, he says, and he has a lot to do. He's doing them a favor by being their ex. This is why they need to lawyer up, okay? Because that ain't a favor you do, okay? This is a business proposition that you made with your wives. You no longer are in that marriage anymore, which wasn't even legal, so they're business partners with you, okay? If any other business partner over there had to sit on a fucking email as long as you made them sit, they probably would sue you, okay? So you're lucky that the wives aren't suing you yet, that they're just getting attorneys in there involved to protect their rights, okay? They talk about how Mary paid equally into the family, and this is everything that I talked about before, about the wet bar, and then she said she wanted a wet bar. Jen talks about Mary not wanting to cause waves. She says, keep sweet. And I was like, oh, girl, they are all being so shady in this episode. But it was interesting to me that Jen said this, okay? That Jen said, keep sweet. Because what it implied was that Jen and Mary have had conversations. She says it in a way, she's like, keep sweet. Like, they've had conversations comparing Cody to Warren Jeffs. Like, that was interesting to me. I don't know if anybody else caught it that way or not. Maybe I'm off. But anyway, Mary says she didn't get anything from her marriage. She didn't get alimony. She didn't get anything. And she feels like she deserves her fair share of the property. And I agree. Janelle is going for separation of assets. Coyote Pass is paid off. So I don't know why they missed. We had to see 4 episodes of Christine's wedding, but they couldn't tell us that Coyote Pass was paid off. So Coyote Pass is paid off. And he keeps putting her off and tells her to call Mary. And she's like, why do I need to call Mary? Like, you're the one that has all the paperwork. And so she's getting an attorney. And Cody is being very wishy-washy about splitting the property. Now it shows Christine and David, and they are buying a house in Moab. Janelle talks about, this is when she talks about women in the FLDS church not having financial autonomy. I love that conversation. I thought it was really, really important for the show. Now we're back at Coyote Pass. Janelle says she's gotten an attorney again because Cody said he and Robin were talking to the right people, but they won't tell him who that is. And it's not her or Mary, so she doesn't know who they're talking to. Cody says she thinks about screwing him over all the time. She screws me over all the time. She'd fuck me if she could. With his rock hard abs and his buns of steel. He says now that they're exes, all they care about is the money. Well, Cody, okay, like Christine has never had a wedding before. I know you haven't ever had a divorce before, but you've had 3 now. That's kind of what happens in divorce, is that it becomes very much about the money, okay? Like, it's not about who's splitting. You don't care about the kids and seeing the kids or having relationships with the kids. I mean, that's never discussed on the show, okay? They never show you, like, reaching out to Maddie or, even, like, Christine's kids that are, like, Aspen, McKelty, Peyton, they're actively on the show. Peyton kind of mentioned you this week and compared you to David and said that David's, like, great for his mom. Like, Peyton never really talks about, they don't, any of them talk about Cody. And so you don't have a relationship with your kids. So, yeah, it is about money, Cody. That's all that's left between you and these wives. You don't have a relationship with them. You and Robin act like y'all were going to get divorced and then continue to have, Robin still acts like they're going to have Christmases together. Who is doing that? Like, in what fucked up world? Maybe like 50% of 1% is having Christmas with their exes, but I don't think most people do that, okay? And that's very amicable breakups, but you didn't have an amicable breakup. This is going to stop in just a second. Hold on. So I'm very confused as to why y'all think that you're going to continue to hang out. Even the fact that Robin is so delusional that she thinks that they're going to want to build on Coyote Pass is just beyond me, right? He says that they're exes and all they care about is money. He says he doesn't know what to do with the land. He doesn't know if he should keep a plot and build out there, but then that'll piss him off, or if he should sell it, or he doesn't know what to do it. And Mary says when she offers to help him, he doesn't want any help because he's like, I'm the one that has to do all the work. And Mary's like, I offer to help. And she's like, but your name is on all, I can't do anything. Janelle can't do anything because your name is on all of it. So he completely owns control over all of it, which we know is what Cody cared about all along, is just controlling shit. Then they show Robin sobbing again about the disintegration of the family once they moved to Flagstaff. And I'm like, no, not really, girl. That's not really how it happened. Okay, I know that that's how you remember it, but that's not really how it happened. It was during the lockdown and it was all the insane rules. And then Cody says, well, then you can do the paperwork. But they can't do the paperwork because legally he's bound to all the plots. So he has to do the paperwork. So he's the one holding all of the control and all this kind of stuff over the properties. Then Christine goes in and she gives us an update of the past year. She said she got married. I'm like, yes, girl, we're fully aware that you got married, girl. We've seen 62 episodes of it, and I don't need to see any more episodes of it, okay? But thank you very much. My favorite was their office, where Christine has a desk and a computer screen, and David has a desk and a computer screen, and they look at each other, and they just work, and they're like, ah! Like, oh my God. I mean, it's very, very cute, I think, but like, it kind of cracked me up on the heels of this. I totally love that that's Christine's idea, too. Like, she's like, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to get two desks, we're going to put them together. Now, couples don't usually do this, okay, but we're going to do it. I don't know, I'm kind of having this turnaround moment. Christine kind of always annoyed me, but now I'm kind of like living for Christine. I'm living for like the fact that Christine, through getting married to another guy, has totally found her independence. I live for that, right? You should always have your independence in your marriage. I live for that. So Christine talks about getting married. David tells her to buy a house. I love that how David is. Because like Cody was so controlling. Peyton says this too. And then David's just like, if you want to buy a house, girl. Go get the house. He didn't even see the house. He just told her to buy it. She bought a house. I mean, you talk about freedom that she must feel in that, you know? And so then they're like moving, but she says it's not really a move. And she compares it to all, anyway. Compares it all. Now we're back at Mary's. Compare it to other moves and it's whatever. Now we're back at Mary's and she talks about wanting to date. She wants to meet a guy at a dog park. And then she says she wants to date. She's dated a little bit. She says it's like a job interview after a job interview. She says, this is a whole weird thing about how old she was. She says she wants to date somebody that's 60 to 65. But then Jen's like pushing her to go younger. And then she says 45. And Zona, the dog, barks and something like that. Is that the dog's name? Zora or Zona or something like that. Raylene and Chiffon, Robin's daughters. Anyway, she should bring out that. I have to put this in every single video. She should bring out that black top hat of McKelty's and put it on that dog. I think that would be a look. Anyway, I'd love if they would just flash to Mary sitting on the bed and breakfast welcoming people. Have you ever seen anybody stay at that bed and breakfast? I've never in any episode of Sister Wives ever seen one person stay at that bed and breakfast, okay? But I would love if they would just flash to Mary sitting on her front porch with that black top hat and McKelty's on. I would live all day long. So Cody says that she's never going to find a man because she wants an alpha man, but she also wants to be in control. And then he says she needs to ditch those mean girlfriends and get a man. And he says, you need to ditch those bitches. That's what he says to Mary in the confessional. I'm like, oh, okay. Okay, she needs to ditch those bitches. Tag another one of those misogynist remarks for Cody Brown. And he says, because a man ain't going to put up with all that. And then Mary says that Jen has been more loyal than anybody that she's ever had in her family or her friend group, and she's keeping her around. And surely Cody can understand that. And she's totally referring to Robin, and I live. I mean, the shade in this episode was so good. And she's like, but I definitely don't want a polygamist, is what she says. Then talks about David having seen the house and the Airbnb, and Caden, is that Christine and Peyton? Peyton says that Christine has changed a lot since leaving Cody, but not really changing is what he said. I was so confused by this part. She loves being the one making the calls. Then girl, I thought we had made it far away. We had ran away, okay? The CDC had called and said Sister Wives Closet was closed down for good. It was abandoned. We didn't have to worry about it anymore. And then Robin Brown, of course, wanted to bring up about how she owns Sister Wives. Robin talks about the Sister Wives Closet and how she started her own business. And Cody says he wasn't very supportive enough, but we all put our money into it. And everybody saw a profit off of Sister Wives, but we didn't see any of the profit off of Janelle's business. And just for some reason, I don't know why, probably because I just watched all this shit this summer. But do you remember that scene when they like didn't, like they were questioning Mary 9 million, you know, ways from Sunday about her B&B? And Robin goes, yeah, I mean, like, are we both going to each make money out of it like we do Sister Wife's Closet? And Mary looked at her and she goes, yeah, I'm still waiting on that check. Do you remember that? I think I might have covered that over here. I live for that scene when Mary, like, totally called Robin out. Was like, baby, I ain't seen no Sister Wife's Closet money at all. So who was he talking about? They trying to bring back Sister Wife's Closet. I think it's still out there somewhere. I can't believe I actually thought about buying some of that junk. I was going to buy it and then, like, you know, one of the Claudio rings or something and wear it in a video. I thought it'd be so cute. I hate them people now. I do. Anyway. And then he says polygamy won't ever work because if a man isn't at the head of the family, you'll never get the wives to agree. Point number 14 for Cody Brown being a misogynist in episode 18 or whatever this is. Now we're back at Cody Pass. And Cody is like, he's like hiking through there. And he says, this was supposed to be their special place. Special place, Coyote Pass. Oh. Mary says she will do what she needs to do, which means, baby, she's lawyering up, okay? It's about time she lawyered up, Mary. About time you got smart, okay? Anyway, let me know what you thought about this week's episode. I will be watching this upcoming week's episode on Sunday, and my reaction will be on Monday, and I will be back tomorrow. Well, no, I won't be back tomorrow because we got birthday parties galore, but I will be back on Sunday with another TV show reaction. I love you guys, and I will see you then. Bye.